It's the end of November, and we've got one more episode to close out the month. This time, we're talking Frankenstein, the newest film from one of our favorite directors, Guillermo del Toro, which is now streaming exclusively on Netflix. A new episode of Watch, Review, Repeat begins now. Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. Joining me for, I think, a very, very special movie on this episode is Mr. Andrew Meadows.
I am here to talk about this movie.
And that movie would be Frankenstein. But not just any Frankenstein, one directed by motherfucking Guillermo del Toro, man.
Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein. Oh, man.
From the back of the throat.
Yes, there have been many iterations of Frankenstein.
Many of them, yeah.
You know, back in the original, I guess, 1930s, does that seem right? I think there was a 90s version from Kenneth Branagh with De Niro as Frankenstein's monster. There was Victor Frankenstein, which was probably real shit, never saw it. But this is the 2025 iteration of Frankenstein from none other than Guillermo del Toro, which is, as our listeners may or may not have heard, is a man that actually made both of our personal top 5 favorite directors. And
yes.
If you'd like to hear more reasons why, hopefully you've already heard our reasons why. And you can just go back and listen to it again if you're really curious and you forgot. But if you haven't heard those already, then you should listen to our episode 300. And you can, use the timestamps. You can skip through the 2 hours of honorable mentions. It's not going to hurt our feelings. We can't tell. We can't tell where you're listening unless you do it on YouTube. Then we can tell. But it's fine. No, go check it out. We gave plenty of reasons for why Mr. Del Toro placed in our top 5s in different places, although yours wasn't strictly speaking ranked, I guess. So I guess in a way it was roughly equivalent to each other. But yeah, very, very exciting. And this is also, we did our fun little hangout sort of episode, which as of recording, we still haven't come up with a name yet. But as of the release of that episode, we'll have a name. Maybe it is just the monthly report. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out before that comes out, which is soon for us and in the past for our listeners. Not confusing at all. This is a return to our topic focused episodes. Obviously, we kind of rebranded, not really rebranded, but reimagined Watch, Review, Repeat. Starting with episode 301, where we did Alien Earth. We followed that up with Tron Ares. Then we switched gears and did our Let's Talk Headlines, trailers, and everything else we've been up to sort of episode. And now we're back. We've got a movie to talk about, and as I said, I think it's a special one. Probably somewhat indicates my feelings on the movie, but look, man, it's not often you get a movie from Guillermo del Toro. You're lucky to get one every few years. There's always like near misses like that. He's like a career of near misses. Probably something we did talk about of just like, someone who has wanted to do this, had intentions to do this, and then we're finally getting to the point now in Del Toro's career where he's just kind of making the things that he wants to make.
Yeah.
And we are richer for it, I think. I might argue, and I perhaps will argue soon. But yeah, so because this is that style of episode where we just get into things, I am going to set things up and tell our listeners a little bit about Frankenstein, and then we're gonna pretty much dive right in. We will of course have a little fun fact if Mr. Meadows came prepared, but we'll find out shortly. Frankenstein is a Netflix movie. It is streaming exclusively on Netflix right now. It dropped on the service on November 7th. So this is pretty hot off the presses for us. We're recording less than a week after the movie came out. It has been in theaters for a couple weeks. And by that I mean that it's been in like kind of random, indie cinemas and stuff like that. It's not at your AMCs. It's not at your Regals. I did happen to look. It actually is still playing in a lot of kind of smaller theaters, which is certainly
incredible.
One way that you could see it. Andrew and I think have pretty good home theater setups. I think Andrew's is probably a little fancier than mine, but mine certainly does the trick. I got an OLED and a 5.1 surround sound system, so it's not nothing.
Good.
It's not nothing. But there's an argument to be made for watching something from the comfort of your own home versus having to trek. Potentially for either of us, to an unusual theater somewhere that might be a little further of a drive. I don't know. But either way, it's on Netflix if you want to watch it that way. It's probably in a theater somewhere around you if you want to take the time and research and find somewhere. And if that's the way that you want to experience it. Frankenstein was written and directed by the man himself, Guillermo del Toro. It is based on the novel Frankenstein, 1818 novel.
An old one.
Old one. By Mary Shelley. Film stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, Felix Kammerer, Christoph Waltz, David Bradley, Lars Mikkelsen, Christian Convery, and Charles Dance. It is the story of Baron Victor Frankenstein, an egotistical scientist whose experiment in creating new life results in dangerous consequences when his monstrous creation comes to life. I shouldn't have to explain the synopsis of Frankenstein. It is indeed the Frankenstein that you are probably familiar with some twists, maybe some changes, maybe some differences when you've got a screenplay written by Guillermo del Toro, adapting a classic novel. Did you come prepared? Do you have a fun fact or two or three or four on Frankenstein?
Yeah, I mean, there's
pumped?
It's funny you say that. There's a couple of interesting things.
Okay. I mean, I'm here all night. Well, not all night, but for the next
for a little bit, anyways. I mean, I've got your ear for a little bit.
Yeah, lay it on me. What you got?
So the makeup. So Del Toro is he's known for monster movies. I mean, this is his,
he's a monster guy. He's a creature guy. Yeah,
he's a creature guy. And I think he relishes in creating these beings, right? Creating these monsters and so needless to say, Frankenstein is not CG or anything like that. I mean,
right. That's
sure
that's
there's
a key
elements
thing.
of it or embellished.
Not just creating things, but creating things as practically as possible.
Exactly. So with that being said, to put him in makeup took around at some points it took around 11 hours for him to get fully done up, because there's points where he's he's almost naked, Yeah,
he's got a little loincloth or something covering his bits, but otherwise he's pretty exposed, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean it took up to 11 hours for him for Jacob to get completely in to turn into Frankenstein. And he was on some sort of late night. I watched an interview where he said that a lot of times people will balk at the time that it takes and all that to get in makeup for a particular role. But he said it wasn't that bad. He said he enjoyed it, and it really gave him the time to really get into character, to strip a lot of the, I guess, ego, or strip himself away and just have the character there, Frankenstein's monster. So it's I thought that was interesting. It's also interesting that he wasn't the first pick.
That's a long time to, I guess, sit, stand, probably move around, take potty breaks and stuff like that. But still,
yeah, 11 hours.
And something that I read was he'd show up at 10 p.m. and then do that so he could make his call time the next morning. So he's staying up all night getting this shit laid on him, and then he's doing a full day's worth of work, shooting this stuff where he is, obviously, I don't know, it sounds like a cool job. I bet it's fun to be an actor and stuff like that, but I don't know, at the same time, staying up all night and then you've got to be a fucking
I feel
creature,
like you're
a monster. It's not exactly your traditional performance, where I don't know, that could
you could be coming into it a little sleep deprived,
Yeah,
and just like kind of method acting a little bit, I would imagine, to a certain extent. You haven't slept all night.
He might have channeled it a little bit into the performance here and there. That's probably true. If Frankenstein monster, his eyes are a little fucked up because he's tired. Like, it's probably on brand. Makes sense for the character.
Yeah. So that I thought that was interesting.
That is very interesting. I had seen some conversation on just and like obviously like we've seen. Well, it's definitely Del Toro. I mean, he's no stranger to putting people in the makeup chair for a long, long time. Hellboy, Shape of Water, probably other examples. Well,
he's also
those, but
I wish I had.
That's a long time.
Del Toro's also he's been vocal that he's been making this movie for a long time.
I had seen that as well. We probably did the same research, not even necessarily in like the
I feel like it's
this episode. It was just
I've
like
been talking a lot about it, and
you're just like, I'm just gonna I want to absorb this. It's funny. There's a when you I don't know if it showed up when you finished it. I don't know if you watched it, and if you did, we can talk about it. There's like a 45-minute little making of deal on Netflix,
I haven't seen
which
that.
I didn't watch, and I saw that like auto-cued after I finished the movie, and I was like, oh, I'd like to watch that. Maybe I'll watch that before the episode. I didn't. So if I do it at another time, I can report back and talk about it, because I'm very fascinated by many of the production aspects of this movie, which we will talk about why we might be intrigued and interested about those sorts of things, but yeah, no, I had seen kind of that. I think kind of what you were saying, like
he talks about
this has been a long time coming for him.
Portions of it were very much Frankenstein, and I don't know. We'll talk about it, but he is aware of it. He's aware of it, of the things that I can observe. And I feel like every movie that he's made to a certain extent, maybe not every movie, but the bulk of movies in one form of another has kind of lent itself to this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And and that's really, I don't know, that's really special. That's really cool.
I mean, it wouldn't have been possible for him to make this movie in the same way 15 years ago as it is for him to do it now. And obviously that's true to a certain extent of a lot of filmmakers, where like it really is about, evolving, building your craft to get to a point where you're comfortable and know how to do certain things. But I think it's also just like life experience and just I don't know. Yeah. Like there's a lot of things that like, good things take a lot of time, and so sometimes, it's okay that it takes a long time for something like this to come together, because maybe that's the way it was meant to be. Maybe it was meant to take as long as it did, from the idea of, hey, I want to make a Frankenstein movie, to, hey, Netflix is giving me the money to make a Frankenstein movie. Okay. That just probably wouldn't have been possible pre Shape of Water, based on not necessarily his lack of clout, but his lack
I tell you what, though,
established financial success,
If 15 years ago or 20 years ago or however long Pan's Labyrinth came out, instead of Pan's Labyrinth, I had Del Toro's Frankenstein, I would almost undoubtedly appreciate it less.
Okay.
At least I feel like I would. You know what I mean? Just because, because he's developed since then. Not that there's anything wrong with Pan's Labyrinth. It's an incredible movie. But I don't know. Like you say, the clout has a lot. The clout's got stuff to do with it. You know what I mean? And I think like you're just honing your abilities, honing the way you work a camera, honing the production and all that. It's all a culmination of skills gained from decades worth of work. Yeah. And I'm getting outside of my fun fact.
Well, the last fun fact. I would say, do you have others? I would say, otherwise, I think we are kind of building.
The one thing was this is the last monster movie that he feels like he wants to make. He wants to get into
really?
I think the next one. I think he said he wants to make a 70s style, more grounded film.
Oh,
I think is something along those lines. I don't have that in front of me, but yes, he wants to make something different.
He might take one movie away, and go deal with non-monster, non-creature type things, he'll be back. It's my bold prediction for Del Toro. He'll be back. He can't help himself. But that sounds cool, and he's a director who, hey man, do what you want. If Netflix is there for going to continue to give you a blank check to do what you want, who are we to stand in your way? Who are we to just not accept it, with open arms? All right. Well, we've sort of, I think, kind of gotten into a little bit of our feelings on the movie, but I think now is a good time to flesh that out more fully with some non-spoiler talk on Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. It's not actually called that. I think it should be called that. Put this man's name in the title. But I appreciate that, keep it simple. It's Frankenstein. That way people know what it is. It's just Frankenstein. They don't have to worry about hooty wada. Put some respect on the name. But
yes. I think it's a missed opportunity myself.
Yeah. It's on the poster and all that. A film by Guillermo del Toro. But I don't know. It's just Frankenstein, but it's Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Anyway, I would love to hear more from you, non-spoiler wise, about how you felt about this film.
I'm going to start out by viewing. I watched it at home.
At home, I figured.
And I went to watch it on my Apple TV, on the Apple TV thing, because I watch everything on Apple TV.
Okay.
And the compression was so fucking terrible. I couldn't see anything in the first sequence. It was unbearable. It's like I got gigabit internet. I went and speed test my shit, and it was perfect. I was like, I don't understand.
This is definitely a movie that compression crushed blacks will tarnish your viewing experience.
Oh, it was fucking terrible. So terrible, in fact, I had to turn it off. I had to find another way to watch it. I said, I will not. I cannot and will not watch this.
That's fair. All right, so what did you do?
So I launched the LG's version of Netflix, and then like the LG app on the smart TV or whatever.
Yeah, right, through the TV itself. Sure.
And I have a new speaker. I have a new center channel. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't watch movies with this app. I need to make sure my audio is set up correctly. That way,
Sure.
Because like I said, I don't watch it. I don't watch the audio doesn't come through my shit from like the apps ever, because I use my Apple TV. So I changed the setting and I lost all the audio. I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
Say you can have one or the other, shitty visuals or fucked up audio. Pick one.
And so I ended up after about like an hour and a half of fucking with it, I ended up finding out that the app in the TV's got a bug where if I launched Tom and Jerry first, and all the audio would work fine, because it's not an Atmos thing,
Okay, yeah.
It's like it would sync up with my AVR, and then I'd launch Frankenstein, and it worked. Anyways, it took about an hour and a half. I was fucking furious. I was not having a good time.
I was gonna say you could,
but it also stayed up just a little bit.
Sync it by playing on one through Apple TV, and then also simultaneously on your TV. That way, and just match the audio and video. No, that would be a fucking nightmare. Anyway,
I got a late start that night, so I started off at like 10:30.
So it impacted the way you watched it. I would assume.
And Bennett goes to bed at 9 anyways. And this is a 2.5 hour movie, so work night.
Yeah.
We have 2.5 hours. That puts me at 11:30 if I start it right at 9. Well, I got started at 10:30 by the time I fixed all my stuff, and so I had like a 12-hour intermission or whatever, 24-hour intermission. During a
Started
portion
one
of this
night,
movie,
finished it the next night.
Which pains me very much.
It does have a storytelling structure that is sort of split. Now, I don't know if you necessarily chose your stopping points based on that, but
I tried to.
You could do it that way.
I tried to. Like, I tried to feel it. Like, I did it by a line of dialogue. I said, that's it. Boom.
Okay.
And I cut it out. Anyways, so that's how I watched it, which is really unfortunate. But I guess if you're going to have a perk to watching it at home, that is the perk, right? So
yeah, pause whenever you want.
I leveraged it. Like I said at the front of the episode, I think Del Toro's career has built. He's built his career around this. I feel like, anyways, I feel like his career has been built up to this singular point, where he can tell retell a classic story, and like I don't know. I don't think of the novel. I don't think any of the other stuff now. I just think of This is Frankenstein. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that I'm not a Frankenstein expert by any stretch.
Have you read the novel?
I think I have a long time ago, like in school. And I get the character points, and the story beats of it and everything, but I don't know what he modified or what he didn't modify. So I mean, I think that this will remain in time forever my Frankenstein. You know what I mean? This is my foothold on that piece of work. And I think that I don't know, you can feel the passion in this movie. You can feel his appreciation for each character, for the story itself. You can feel the appreciation for the creation of Frankenstein's monster. The creation of life in general. You can really feel like the passion behind this project, and I think that there's a lot of religious undertones in this movie. And I just really like the way that Del Toro explores it all. He explores, and I don't know if that was, I don't know. I wish I was more affluent with Frankenstein, the original works, to know if that's something that was present in the original movie. Maybe if you tune into Ink to Film, maybe they can, shed some light. I don't know.
Yeah, one would think they're probably doing some version of this, but.
Yeah, it's. I think if to start somewhere, to start somewhere. We'll start with the production design. I think that's a hallmark of Del Toro movies. The world of this Frankenstein is super lived in, like every other movie he makes. The costume design is just unreal. The buildings that the people occupy are super well fleshed out. The technology that's used, and the way that the characters interact with the technology, and the way things that are displayed are like I have this picture up of when they're building Frankenstein, and they kind of have his back flayed out with paperweights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's on this little circle table, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's super artistic, but super practical. It seems like at the same time. And I don't know. He fucking crushes it, dude. He crushes this stuff every time. And I feel like this more than normal. It just feels like there's more heart, more oomph in this, than even A Shape of Water. Shape of Water had big oomph. That was awesome. But this is what's that movie that he came out with a while ago? It was Crimson Peak. Is it Crimson Peak?
Crimson Peak, yeah. Yeah.
This is Crimson Peak meets Shape of Water, but then at the same time it's an adaptation of an existing story, which I think even makes it even kind of more awesome. You know what I mean? This is the thing that's been told time and time again, decade after decade after decade. We get a Frankenstein product, or we get a retelling of Frankenstein in some shape or form.
Right. I think it's literally in the public domain, so anyone can just
we get
tell Frankenstein. You can do a Dracula. You can do any of those kind of things, and so yeah, you see it all the time.
But this interpretation is really, 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 really awesome, right? And it's really cool that Del Toro can make his mark on a public domain product. You know what I mean? About an IP like that, because it really it staples him to a timeless thing. You know what I mean? Yep. Something that does get made every decade. It really ties him to it. Makes him. I don't know. It kind of Frankenstein's his stuff a little bit. You know what I mean? It just immortalizes it, which is, I think, really cool in a poetic kind of way. Anyways, the cast and crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The cast is awesome. I can't.
I'm sure you're happy to see Oscar Isaac in a movie like this.
Yes. Oscar Isaac is unreal in this movie. I feel like he's just, I don't know. When I went to bed the first night at the first view, like the first half of this movie, I don't think that Del Toro's he's got some really hateful people in his movies. Pan's Labyrinth is a big one, with the Army General or whatever.
And Shape of Water as well.
Shape of Water as well.
Michael Shannon character, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty terrible.
Yeah, he definitely got some hateable pieces of shit here and there. Yeah.
I don't think I've actually like Oscar Isaac plays a terrible fucking person. Frankenstein is a terrible, he is truly a monster. Like, he really just swung for the fences at playing a monstrous character. Del Toro wrote a monstrous character, just like at the same time though, but he's like, you can see where he came from. You can see that he's also very much his father's child. You know what I mean? And you can see the new, the depth.
Right.
The depth of the character is just very well realized.
Yeah, I think compared to, those Pan's Labyrinth and Shape of Water characters, it's a character that is not just an outright villain. Can you call him a villain? Yeah, maybe, sure. But it's not. I mean, it's his story as well. There's obviously it's the story of both Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. But it is at the end of the day, Frankenstein's story. And so, hateable as he is, it's still about him. And that's a kind of, sometimes that's a tough needle to thread. Is how do you make how do you make something about a potentially unlikable character, watchable? How do you get an audience to grapple with that and not just, spend the whole runtime thinking, fuck this guy, you know what I mean? Like, I hate, why am I here? That's a tough thing to do, I think.
And
easier said than done.
The only way that you achieve that is with the dynamic. You have to have the dynamic, and the dynamic is Frankenstein's monster. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And it all comes together at the end of this movie. But Oscar Isaac plays a brilliant, well fleshed out, very well realized character. He plays it like if homie's sitting in the makeup chair for 11 hours, getting into the idea of what it is to be this character, I don't know what the fuck Oscar Isaac's channeling. He's got some dark shit, because that's I don't know, the character's just he's very hateable. When I went to bed, he was very hateable. You know what I mean?
Oscar Isaac's a really interesting actor because he is equal parts charismatic and just super lovable, and then they have these roles. This one, Ex Machina, maybe something else, where it's just like, oh, this guy fucking sucks, he flips that switch. He does it really, really well.
Good actor, dude. He's a real good actor.
Good actor and good range. And on the flip side of that, again, Dune, was charismatic and an interesting, powerful presence there, commanding presence. Who you can't just help but root for him. And then he is one of the few actors who I feel like kind of can be. Can go really either way in terms of I feel like a lot of actors get boxed into one thing versus the other. You're always kind of villainous or like a little shitty, or you're like a good guy. And he's definitely someone that is very, very capable
he's always taking
of playing
roles.
Both types.
He takes the roles with the depth too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe that has something to do with it. If you take a 2-dimensional character and you fucking crush being a 2-dimensional fucking villain character, maybe you get typecast as a 2-dimensional fucking asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All the time.
and I do think, again, kind of going back to what I said with something like this, like you know, there's I mean, what you said too, like there's depth here, there's complexity here. It's not just look at this bad man doing bad things. It's why is this bad man doing bad things? Is there a reason for it? You know, does it change our viewpoint of him? In some ways, maybe, yeah, but you know, it's not just presenting it as look at all this horrible things, you know, the horrible shit that the horrible man's doing. It's not so 2D, you know, to just kind of use that. Yeah.
And then we can talk about Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
And I think they work off of each other, you know what I mean? The innocence and just what it is to be Frankenstein's monster, I guess. I don't really quite know how to describe what it is. It's just a new life.
Oh, what is it to be new life brought into this world and have to
no direction,
learn and experience hated. and find your way. Obviously, you know, looking kind of fucked up, so immediately people are gonna look at you a certain way and treat you a certain way. I mean, there's definitely I think a clear element with this iteration, well, with all the iterations of the physicality, you know, he's very tall, he's imposing, you know, but you know, it's the juxtaposition of, you know, his visage versus what he feels on the inside. But then also at the same time, he's got some level of super strength, you know, so he is physically very powerful, you know, and certainly threatening can certainly, you know, utilize that strength if necessary, if put into compromising positions and stuff. So yeah. So Jacob Elordi, you know, he spent all that fucking time in the makeup chair, and he spent all that time thinking about how do I do this. And it sounds like maybe he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he you know, I think there's monster portions in this movie, specifically the beginning, that I don't necessarily think were the best.
Okay.
I don't think they're bad.
Yeah, but maybe more like action focused than like character focused or
this
something.
This movie
you know?
shines when it is exploring the more nuanced things of humanity and you know, the story beats of this movie, which I think it's awesome. I think Frankenstein's monster is everything from the mannerisms to like the exploration of speech to like not knowing how to communicate what you know, what he's feeling.
Right.
And it's all very there's a lot to unpack here. It's a lot to unpack in this movie. It's a harrowing tale.
And we'll spend some time unpacking it, you know. I mean, again, yes, do people know the story? Probably yes. But this is not just, you know, the classic Frankenstein story. It's the classic Frankenstein story with the Del Toro punch, you know. So it's something that we'll definitely, I think, explore more fully in spoilers. So
yeah, the Frankenstein's monster to I think Elordi, is that how you pronounce his last name? Jacob Elordi.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He really does a fantastic job of portraying this character. And like I said, from the mannerisms to I really the mannerisms I think are the most I don't know, just really well done.
Okay, yeah.
Like I said, for a solid chunk of this movie, you're left with a monster that can't really communicate verbally, right? And so
really limited in that particular way.
Yeah, and so he does a really good job of physically portraying the communication, and Oscar Isaac obviously misses it. Frankenstein misses these, like he doesn't pick up on the cues right? Which leads us to Mia Goth's character, you know, who like connects with it's just all so good. It's just it's all I feel like a lot of the acting in this movie is done like there's a lot you can watch it and you can listen to it and you can pick up on it, but a lot of it is just like body language and just it's just all so nuanced, and it's far better than I think it's better than what I expected it to be. I expected Del Toro makes really good stuff, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why it's like one of my favorites. But his production design and his the technical aspects of his movies and his productions really shine. I really appreciate those. Right. And his creativity.
You can count on that going into any one of his movies.
Right.
But sometimes it's not.
Maybe I don't.
Sometimes the rest of it's not up to that caliber. You know.
Exactly. It's exactly what I'm trying to say. This movie, I think, and maybe it's because it's an adaptation of a like really well explored, right. Really
like the story's there. You know, it's just taking that and doing it and I guess the right way almost.
Yeah, and I feel like, and maybe you can tell that this, I think it's a cut above, maybe because Del Toro, like, relishes this book. Like, this book, for him, is something incredibly special. And so whenever he takes Frankenstein's character to the page or takes it to the screen, he has a different appreciation, a different appreciation or a different outlook on the character, or just knows how to execute it, or knows what he wants to have executed on screen. That it just feels so special. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm communicating it right.
I think I understand.
Yeah, because these characters are so well fleshed out and just so well realized, and even for a Del Toro movie, which I think Del Toro does an excellent job again, but they're I don't know.
No, but I think I do know what you mean, and I think this is probably why, because I did do fully ranked in order for my 5 favorite directors, and spoilers for that episode, Del Toro was not my number one, and I think some of the things that held it back is I feel like there are certain things in his movies that are weaker. Like compared to some of the other directors that I talked about, like I've never really seen Del Toro movies as like fully performance driven, or sometimes even story driven. Like the biggest things that have propelled those movies has been the visual language. It has been, the cinematography, the production design. And for me, the things like the best of Del Toro's movies, certainly prior to this and now including this, were the movies where the rest of it was elevated in a way that it was like everything kind of was on that same level of grandeur. And for me, that, Pan's Labyrinth is like the example of that. I think Devil's Backbone is close, it's like kind of a cousin of Pan's Labyrinth. It's similar in the sense that, without Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth is probably not as good as it is. And I think Crimson Peak, was like kind of a stepping stone to making The Shape of Water. And I think, as you kind of said, like Crimson Peak and The Shape of Water are now, if you look at them, kind of stepping stones to making Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And in a sort of way, I almost think, weirdly enough, Pinocchio is kind of a stepping stone in some ways
For
too.
Sure.
Where, it maybe it gave him the confidence to realize I can make these adaptations. I can adapt classic works and put my signature touch on it, and people might respond to it. And it was evident from Pinocchio, and I think it is evident in Frankenstein, the passion that he does have for these works. The meaning that they have had on him, and I appreciate that he has not shied away from making it his own. You know what I mean? And I think it's not just making it an own in terms of I'm doing Frankenstein, book to screen, but it's going to look and sound like a Del Toro movie. It's that, but it's also going to feel like a Del Toro movie. It's going to have characters that feel like it. It's going to have dialogue that feels like it. But I think that in some ways, Frankenstein does feel kind of elevated to some of his movies where, it just, I don't know, it does, all the pieces kind of just clicked into place in ways that, most, like every one of his movies has had something really, really fantastic about it. Some aspect of it that's really fantastic, or something that's really interesting about it. That's like, oh, this is knocking on the door of greatness, or it's achieved greatness, as I would argue for Pan's Labyrinth.
Sure.
But this is probably the first time. I take it back. Pinocchio was pretty fucking great.
Pinocchio was ridiculous.
This was probably the first time since Pinocchio, but and to be fair, that was his most immediate movie prior to this. But I think this is now 2 back-to-back movies where it feels like, oh, he's on fire. Because I like Nightmare Alley. It's good, but it's not top tier Del Toro. The Shape of Water, I really like. It wasn't my favorite. I think it was like my number 6 that year. I think you liked it a little bit more than I did, but I think it's great, and I really appreciated a lot of it. And I think the biggest thing that I appreciate about The Shape of Water, as I've kind of alluded to, is like that movie got so much traction and recognition critically, commercially,
catapulted them.
Now Del Toro can do this. Now Del Toro gets to make Pinocchio. Now he gets to make Frankenstein. Without The Shape of Water, quite literally, I don't think these movies get made. I just don't think they do.
Right.
And so there's definitely this kind of career progression for Del Toro, which is really interesting to kind of map out. But I think you end in this point where he's not done. We hope he's not done. He's making his 70s thing or whatever. Maybe he'll make another monster thing as I have predicted. But yeah, this is just I don't know. It just feels nice to see. I don't know, him just, like I said, kind of firing on all cylinders. Not just bringing immaculate production design. Like Nightmare Alley was like fucking immaculate production design, but narratively something wasn't fully there. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I could really pinpoint, but I could tell you like the way that it made me feel, the way it came across, and I think probably generally speaking the way it was received was like, this is very good, but it's not.
But it's got a but
completely there, Maybe it was for some people, and that's totally fine. And obviously, you're gonna feel.
It was really good. I liked it a lot.
I agree. It was very good.
I like that Art Deco style that he had in it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. But but that's kind of the thing I think about when I think about Nightmare Alley is great production design. But that doesn't make a movie. It makes a great movie that's enjoyable to watch, and one that I probably would rewatch, but haven't rewatched. So, anyway. Point being, my personal sense, my personal stance on this is he put it all together in this movie, and it sounds like you feel the same way. So I have more expanded thoughts, but before we finish out non-spoilers and jump over to me, I want to...
Yeah, so just a couple quick beats. The cinematography, I think, is perfected his... he doesn't have he doesn't really have one shots or anything else, but what he does have is extended shots. He's got long extended shots, a couple of them in this movie. And, I just feel like his, the things that I've appreciated in prior movies are expanded upon in this one, so the cinematography, like I said, it's beautiful. It's like there's like this the art direction I think is really cool. I appreciate that. The costume design, it all kind of like you got a bunch of plus ones towards the production design of this movie, right? It's all very practical.
I mean, and again, that's what you expect going in, and he's checking all the boxes that you'd expect, but maybe and then some. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. I think where this one really, really moves the needle forward is the written content of this movie, and then the execution by the cast, and just the nuance in the characterization and the nuance in the performance. I think it really elevates a super well realized world that only Del Toro can deliver. Right. So it's like I said, it's a culmination of all these perfect things, and the score. I think the score is so good.
Alexandre Desplat.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he crushed it. Yeah, of course he does. That guy always crushes it. I didn't know that's who it was. So that's cool. The score in this is just impactful, and I don't know, it left a mark. It's really, it was really good. So that's kind of like all I have. I was just really blown away.
All right,
by
well,
the performances in this movie.
here's the $1 million question. What didn't you like about the movie, if anything?
I didn't like. There's Frankenstein's monster's voice.
Oh, okay.
When he gets mad, like when he's
Okay.
super angry,
Okay.
super Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
He's got like this weird, like echoey kind of thing. I didn't like that.
Okay, so what you're saying is you have minor complaints overall.
I have one minor complaint. I actually think that's the only complaint.
All
Like
right,
he's
I have one minor complaint myself, and I don't know.
bring him here, but then it's like layered over and over and over with like a lion's roar kind of thing, and I was like, that kind of sounds. I don't know if I like the way that sounds.
Okay. My one complaint.
The fact. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was to say my one complaint, just to throw it out there, is for all of Del Toro's commitment to practicality, he did not practically bring in some animals into this movie, because there's some iffy computer generated animals. But that's my one complaint.
Yeah. Well, thankfully for those computer generated animals, they weren't involved.
They would have gotten some complaints from PETA, is what you're saying, if they had fully committed to the bit and how they made this. That's fair. Yes, wouldn't have gone well from some animals, that's for sure.
I really think that was the only complaint I've got. Really, is the is the voice. Is there anything else? There's an angel. You see this angel or this flaming thing?
Yeah. Like a vision of this.
If I can think of one thing that is, so you gave me my complaint. The one thing that I think sticks the most is the angel Gabriel in this movie. The flaming background. You see him like in the trailer and stuff, so it's not too spoilery. But this angel makes repetitive visits to repeated visits to Dr. Frankenstein, and I like the visual language of that a whole lot. It just really fucking awesome looking. Anyways, so that's
all right. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I agree.
pretty cool.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't have a lot to say in non-spoilers, and that's because I think you've covered a lot of what I probably would have said had I opened the conversation myself. And I mean, you have to obviously still at the same time shout out the production design is immaculate. I think from like the lab setup to, there's kind of this boat, sort of setup in the Arctic, which I think is very interesting, and we talk about more
with Thrawn.
With Thrawn, that's right. Talk about that more in spoilers, but I think the actual design of that is very well done. All of it. I mean, just the way it's shot, the cinematography is beautiful. I think that the makeup work, the actual prosthetics and stuff is just really, 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 really well done. The costuming, like just top to bottom production wise, I don't think I can come up with a complaint. Music, as the score, as you said, I mean, and that's the hallmark of a Guillermo del Toro movie, is it's gonna knock all of those categories out of the park. It should be competing at the Oscars in a lot of those technical categories, and I would expect, and I would be shocked if this is not, okay, maybe it's going to lose out on visual effects because of some CGI animals, and also because Avatar is coming out this year. So
Avatar came out this year,
so it should fucking lose. But everything else, it should be vying. It should be in contention. But I fully agree. The thing that elevates this movie is the story, which I think is very well done. I think the actual storytelling structure is well done. I've never read the novel. I don't, so
you didn't read it in school?
Nope, it was never assigned. Although to be fair, if I could avoid actually reading a book in school, I would probably choose to avoid reading the book, which is shameful. But
did you? This is a side note, not to get in the weeds. Did you do 1984 in school too?
I don't think we ever did 1984 in school. Trying to think. I think one of my brothers did either 1984 or maybe Animal Farm, but because I feel like we had a copy of one or the other, possibly both, bouncing around the house at some point. But I don't think it was ever a formal assignment of either the Orwell books in school, if I recall correctly. And I don't think I had one for Frankenstein. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know if high school me or, would have been like, oh, Frankenstein, that's fucking cool. Maybe I actually will read this thing. I don't think it's very long, to be fair, either. But never read it, so I don't have that sort of background. I mean, obviously I have the background of, like, I understand and know colloquially, the Frankenstein story, and I've seen media with Frankenstein. So I could get it. I get it, obviously. I have seen some thoughts, I guess we'll say complaints on the internet.
Yeah, what are the complaints on the interwebs?
I was like, oh, he changed this, or this is different from the book,
did he change?
or this. Well, I mean, some of it's probably spoilery to say, so we can fully save that.
Fair enough.
But, it's like the characterization is different from the books, The way that Frankenstein and the monster are characterized is definitely a divergence in some ways, I think, from the original novel, is my understanding, as someone that has not read the original novel. So
who's stepping on the Del Toro? I got your back, brother. We'll figure it out.
But I mean, I think what I would say to that, I mean, for anyone listening that maybe has read the novel and is like, I want this to be a 1-to-1 adaptation, or I'm going to be pissed. It's like, yeah, you're probably going to be pissed. Like, I do think that even though it's not titled as such, this is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. He's put his own spin on it, and I think that, I don't know, it's an adaptation. Like, I mean, I think especially for something like this, it's one thing, if something's never been adapted before, and the first time you adapt it, someone is just pissing all over the source material and being like, I'm going to change everything because I am smart and I know better than Mary Shelley. I think that's an understandable, situation in which you're going to be like, fuck you, man. Like, I like that.
This thing's also over 100 years old.
Now you're ruining that thing, It's over 200 years old, man.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, when was it written?
1818 is when it came out, so written before that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 200-plus-year-old thing. Like, it is ripe to be modified and altered, and it has been taught. I mean, I could probably pull up the fucking, there's probably a whole separate Wikipedia section of, adaptations. The Frankenstein in popular culture, list of films featuring Frankenstein's monster. Those are two separate things. A body of 423 known feature films, 204 short films, 78 TV series, and 280 TV episodes feature some version or interpretation of the character Frankenstein's monster. Now, obviously, most of those are not going to be straight adaptations. And that's spanning from what looks like 1915 to 2025, technically into 2026. We haven't talked about it. We have a movie coming out called The Bride, so we're getting even more Frankenstein shit next year. We will talk about the trailer for that on a future episode. And to be fair, it lists Lilo and Stitch as one of those examples. So I don't, this is maybe a loose list to follow. But the point being, like, for something like this, I think it's okay to play a little faster and looser. And I don't think he's playing super fast and loose. I think he's just changing things to fit his version of the story. I think, we'll get into it more in spoilers, but, like, I don't know, it's very on brand for I think the types of movies and the types of characters that Del Toro makes movies about, that the changes from what I understand, just reading about the complaints and reading about how people feel about these changes, it's like, I don't know, it makes a lot of sense for me for Del Toro to do it this way. And I always kind of, again, I understand if people are going to be pissed about the one adaptation being a piece of shit that ruins the thing, but you always still do have the original there, the source materials there. There's probably a more faithful adaptation out there that maybe has its own flaws and is imperfect in some ways too. But I don't know. I think with a classic like this, like you gotta let Del Toro have a little room to, I think, do his own thing, because otherwise, like, it's going to be missing. it's going to be missing it. Yeah. What's the point? Like if you want a paycheck, it would be a paycheck movie. Like that's the difference between, this being a Guillermo del Toro movie and a paycheck movie is Del Toro creating his own written version, the screenplay, and then directing that screenplay. That's the difference. It's not just some guy off the street just has a straight adaptation of Frankenstein and he's come in to just, make it look pretty. Like I think that, that there's a clear passion, behind it. And kind of what I've read is, Del Toro has been dreaming about making this movie since as far back, at least, as 2007. There have been iterations of this movie that he's like always thought about making. He at one point had Doug Jones, ready to go to be the monster, because Doug Jones is his guy that he always, he was Shape of Water, he was Ape Sapien, he does all these things. He was the fucking, creepy hand man,
eyeball monster
in Pan's Labyrinth,
the fairy eater. Yeah,
he's been thinking about this for a long time, and it really took a long time for it to finally arrive into a place where he's like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I'm actually going to do it this time. So, anyway, now I've really fully gone off into the weeds. We'll talk about some of the changes, I guess, from what I understand, and spoilers in terms of just the broad characterization, because I can't speak. I'm sure there are cuts. I'm sure there are things. I don't know, like, if the story structure is the same way it is in the book or anything like that. I don't know anything about, to be quite honest.
Like, I'm curious what critiques there are that don't arrive at the same point. You know what I mean? From what I understand about Frankenstein, like, this is the point of Frankenstein. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
sure.
I feel like, I don't know. I'm curious to hear what the complaints are, and then
we'll get into it. My final thought is just echoing the compliments that you paid to the cast. Oscar Isaac, I've said a little bit about him already, so I can probably leave it at that. But Jacob Elordi, I have to give particular praise to, because I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything straight up. I've seen, bits and pieces of Euphoria that obviously he has a pretty solid role in. I never watched Saltburn. I never actually did watch Saltburn.
Well, that's a good one. You should watch that.
So I feel like my Jacob Elordi experience has been like seeing clips of Euphoria and like seeing like just clips of him, where he's, I don't know, like I feel like when he was cast in this, it was just like, I don't know. Okay. And I've seen him like rumored for like James Bond, for like the Denny Bond. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, he's, tall and handsome, whatever, but like, I don't know. I don't know if he was really, does he really have that? Does he really have that sort of thing? And this is the kind of thing, you don't expect it. And man, like this dude's got some fucking chops that he's probably just never really had a solid avenue to show them off in. And again, maybe Saltburn is an example, and I'm just, ignorant to that by having not seen it. But holy shit, this guy was fucking great. This guy was great in this fucking movie. I mean, there's a little inherent silliness, and whimsiness to the initial kind of parts of his performance. But I think seeing the evolution of the creature in this movie, like, sort of towards the back half of this movie, he brought some real depth and emotion to this character that was really, really impressive, I thought. So I don't think anyone was bad here. In fact, I think everyone was quite good. I think you had some, not really casting against type, but like, David Bradley is, I think for a lot of people, he's Filch from Harry Potter. He's Walder Frey from Game of Thrones. Like, he's like an old curmudgeonly asshole. And he's just like a nice guy
nice old
here.
Man. Yeah.
Nice old man here. And it's like, oh, okay, that's fun. Lars Mikkelsen is good. I feel like he's often playing asshole or villainous, and it's kind of not that. I mean, Charles Dance is kind of just Charles dancing about here, we'll say. Christoph Waltz is Christoph waltzing. I think
it's perfect. He's waltzing,
but it's but it's good. It is, even if they're not necessarily playing against their type, they are well suited they are very well, they're well cast, and they're well suited for those particular roles, and do great jobs. So top to bottom cast was very impressive to me. But again, particular shout out to Jacob Elordi for game. I got to recognize the game. He showed me something I hadn't seen from him, and I love that, seeing that out of actors where you don't expect it, but it really is just about having the right opportunity sometimes to showcase your skill set. So I think we can do a recommendation, unless you have any other random thoughts that have entered your brain. I guess with this, because it's already streaming, I don't know how do we handle this. I mean, I guess we could.
Well, it is in theaters.
We can still. It is in theaters, right? So we can actually modify. You can keep, I guess, the traditional of, hey, go see this in theaters, even if necessarily we didn't. Maybe that's the way we could have seen it.
That would have been great.
Just enjoy it at home, or I guess maybe give it a miss. I guess that's kind of,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the latter based on our conversation thus far. So I guess the question is, do you think this is worth, taking a trek, to indie cinema?
If it was an I don't think it was an option. At least, availability wise, it's not an option. It wasn't an option for me. But if you can, I say go see this the best way that you can. If that's a theater, go see it at a theater. If you have a TV and no sort of speakers or anything, but you have a friend that does,
go watch it there.
Why don't you call your friend and find out, hey, you want to have a movie night? I'll bring over some food and some beers, and we can watch Frankenstein. I think that's the way you should do it. I think you should see it in the best way available to you, is the way I think you should see it. I think that this is evidently the story of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster has been a culturally relevant movie for, I guess since its inception, because it's got so many interpretations of this story. So evidently this is an important story to hear, or to watch, or to listen to, or to read, or what have you. It's an important message that spans through time. So I think this is probably the best interpretation of, at least in my opinion. This is this is the best one. So I think you should watch it the best way you can. It's good stuff.
All right, I'll agree with that. I kind of wish that I watched this in theaters to start. So
do
I guess that's only fair that I recommend that if anyone hasn't seen it, that they do it in the best way they can, which is probably, generally speaking, going to be a theater. I know this got like a really, really limited IMAX release, and I just, it's tough.
Oh, that would be so good.
On one hand, thank you, Netflix, for, again, giving the Del Toro the blank checks and letting him make these movies. On the other hand, Netflix's, general resistance to movie theaters, I do think hurts its availability to watch it and premium formats like that, yes, I could have seen this in an indie theater and probably would have overall at least an equivalent, if not better, audio-visual experience to what I have, at home. But I don't know. It's just I just wish I could have seen this in Dolby. I wish I could have seen this in an IMAX. I think that really would have been. And obviously, selfishly speaking, I would like to not have to pay any more than I'm already paying for my AMC A-list to see it. You know what I mean? So it's do I think this would have been worth a $15 ticket? Yeah, I do. And I wouldn't have, batted an eye, and I wouldn't have felt sad or any sort of regret coming out of the theater. But it is kind of tough because it's just all right, well, now I got to find a theater that I've never been to. I don't know if it's going to be good. It might be a piece of shit theater where, I am literally better off watching it at home. And I just think Netflix is doing this theatrical release not because they believe in theaters, but because they need to do it to qualify for Oscar consideration. You know what I mean? That's, I think, the primary motivation. It's not about getting asses in seats. We didn't do a box office breakdown. There are basically very little reported numbers on this, because it's just gotten, it just hasn't been in theaters. It's not even that it hasn't been in theaters long enough. It's been in theaters for weeks, but the only box office numbers that we've really seen reported for it are like international numbers. Like, we don't have any domestic box office results, even though it's technically been in like indie cinemas for like a few weeks. And it's just like clearly it's not a focus. You know what I mean? Like, Netflix is not focused on it. Like, the only big box office things that we're getting from Netflix are like, hey, we put K-pop Demon Hunters in theaters for like, you know, a day, and, you know, and sing along. And so it's, I don't know, it's not really like their intent is, you know, they want people to use their streaming service. I get it. I totally get it. But I do feel like it kind of hurts the impact of the movie sometimes, if you can just pause, if you can just, I mean, it's good if you're falling asleep. I don't want Andrew Meadows to fall asleep and miss the last hour of this movie in a theater because he had a long fucking night. But at the same time, had he watched it in a theater, he wouldn't have had an hour of fucking bullshit to deal with. You know what I mean?
So, right, absolutely, exactly.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I have mixed feelings, obviously. Like, great.
This is
Good
a
on
movie
you,
that
Netflix,
deserves
for you know, footing the bill, making this movie, allowing Del Toro to make this movie. But like, I don't know. Let us see it on a big fucking screen with like great fucking sound. Like, I don't have a bad setup, and that is how I watched it, and I appreciated it and really enjoyed it. But I don't know.
It's a theater experience. Yeah,
I mourn the loss of true theater experiences for stuff like this. There's a lot of schlock on Netflix that I think doesn't need a theatrical release, that I think is totally suited to just be a day one drop on Netflix. It's kind of schlocky, it's kind of shitty, but like, you'll have fun with it. You're already paying for Netflix. No skin off your back. No big deal.
This is Roma, dude.
Roma is a good example. I'm sure there have been others. I mean, even all the Knives Out movies, like, I probably would prefer to see those in the theaters, and I did with Glass Onion. And I don't know what they're doing with Wake Up Dead.
What's
Man.
that vampire
I don't know if they're doing the same
like
little bullshit.
I would have watched that one. I would have watched that.
Yeah, they've got.
They do it every year.
They bring something. They drop. 90% of it is crap, but there's 10% of it, man, that is fucking absolute cinema. And Frankenstein is absolute fucking cinema. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I'll end my rant by saying, yes, you should see this in theaters if it is an available option for you. Obviously, I'm not going to begrudge anyone that does the same thing that we did and just watches this at home because they already have Netflix, and fuck paying $10-15 for a theater and driving and parking, and I get it. I do get it. But I think quality wise, this film would be worthwhile to do it in that format. So with that said, I think we can transition into full spoilers for Frankenstein. I guess we can follow up on kind of the critiques, the complaints that I've seen, because I feel like you're kind of curious to hear about that. And I think that might actually open the door up to just talking about the movie more openly in spoilery fashion. So from what I have read, which is not the 1818 Mary Shelley novel, just to again make that abundantly clear for anyone. And by the way, Ink to Film did do, I think, an episode on that novel, and then they covered the Branagh film. They may be covering this one as like an extended, but I think they've already done like a Frankenstein coverage, so it would be like an extension of that. So if anyone wants to hear actual thoughts, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to read the novel, but I'm it's a classic thing of I have 1,800 things that I want to do at once, and inevitably I cannot do all of them. I'm tempted to do that, yeah. Especially with books are precarious. I'm like, yeah, I want to read that book, man. You have a million books I want to read. Like add it to the fucking list, man. The things that I've seen are basically that the characterizations of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster are, I think, overall a bit different in this version of the story compared to the novel, and probably compared to other versions of the novel, other adaptations, in the sense that Frankenstein is a shit dude in this movie. I think straight up he's quite awful, pretty generally speaking irredeemable, understandable. There's depth, there's complexity, there's we see the childhood, we see obviously losing his mom early and having a shit father. Like, we see kind of the seeds of why he kind of
You see it, yeah. You see it go
and then
full
why
circle.
he, he repeats those behaviors against his son, if you will, and the creature. I think in the novel, I think it's not quite as clear cut. I think that he does things that are obviously unsavory in making the creature, but I don't think he's quite as irredeemable. I think he's not full on piece of shit. I think he's just someone who does shitty things and then recognizes that he's kind of shitty and that. And I think kind of the flip side of that is the creature. I think in the novel is a lot more violent, a lot less sympathetic, I guess probably is the best way to put it. I think the creature is the one that kills Elizabeth, in the novel, like in the movie here, Dr. Baron Frankenstein shoots her, and it's obviously not an intentional sort of thing, but it's definitely his fault, and there's no question about it. It's definitely not really the creature's fault. Whereas I think that the creature, I think, is definitely, he said, more violent and less sympathetic, does horrible things, does bad things. And it's all kind of rooted in the same idea of it's, you were talking about.
Is it because they took the body parts off of murderers and rapists and that sort of thing?
There is some aspect of that too, where I think it's like a criminal brain or something like that. I don't know if that's in the original or if that's just something that's been in the others. I do think there's more of that in the novel, from what I understand. But yeah, I think it's not as black and white, I guess, almost as it is here. I think the Del Toro
thrust had to remain, right? The
thrust is there. Yes. I think the thrust is roughly the same. I mean, I think that the motivations, the actual, the execution of it, the way that Frankenstein treats the creature and the way that the creature reacts and evolves from that point. I think there are a lot of the same touchstones. I think the blind man is a thing in the novel.
The interpretation, the you can see how Del Toro would interpret these characters. I think it's
I think broad strokes, it's all there. It's just, I think this is infused with the little Del Toro mythology in some ways, where he's always made the creature the most sympathetic, character. I think that's consistent with Shape of Water. I think it's consistent with Hellboy, where it's a literal fucking, creature from hell, but he's always kind of treated.
The creature is always the most
positively,
because the creature should be treated sympathetically. Especially, I mean, he didn't ask to be created. He didn't ask to be, you know what I mean? Of course.
Well, yeah, especially here, it's this is effectively a newborn, who, is a fucking 6'5" man, because that's the way you built him to be.
And he didn't immediately come out with...
has these aspects too of, bringing Pinocchio to life, and so,
it's all been Frankenstein this whole time, and I think, he just, I texted you this.
Mm-hmm.
There is a saying, I don't know what type of saying it is. I think it's probably Greek or some shit. Anna could probably enlighten me, but it came into my brain when I watched this, and Sarah asked me, what'd you think about it? I said, this is Del Toro's magnum opus. That's what I said. And then I said, and she goes, I don't know what that means. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure I know what it means, but I think it's his culmination.
Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going.
It's his magnum opus. And I thought, what I said was, I think what it means is his career has culminated to this thing. It's his the pinnacle of his works. You know what I mean? Everything's amounted to this. And I looked it up. I think I was pretty close. Do you look it up there? Magnum opus?
I did look it up. We've got a few different.
Am I close?
We want Merriam-Webster. Do you want Wikipedia? Who do we trust the most?
I don't know. Merriam's pretty good.
Oxford. Merriam-Webster says the greatest achievement of an artist or writer. Also,
Okay.
well, I guess it says just a great work, but especially the greatest achievement of an artist or writer. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the best. But I do
or
think
a culmination. It could just be the best thing. But I do think this is his greatest work. I do think that
this is number one for you.
I think it's number one for me, dude. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. The other things, like the fairy tale, I really like Del Toro's creation of the fairy tale with Pan's Labyrinth. I think that's awesome. I really, really think Pacific Rim is fucking cool. It's really cool.
It's pretty cool. Sure. It's not Frankenstein, though. I think that's probably fair to say.
But
not that it's trying to be, but, you know.
And Pinocchio hit me in ways that I did not expect. Pinocchio was incredibly impactful. But I think that this is all the movie. And in Kronos is probably a special place. I really like Kronos.
It's where it all began.
But I can acknowledge that Kronos is not the best movie. You know what I mean?
I think I said it's where it all began. You can see the youngest Del Toro, like where every movie after that, came from. You can see it in Kronos, but obviously he's been, working on his craft for how long?
20, 40 years,
30 years at least, since a Kronos. So like, you would expect him to get better and
he has
build on Kronos.
And this is it for me, dude. I think this is the best Del Toro movie. It emotionally impacted me. It was impactful. I think, and that's watching it not in one sitting. That's watching it spanned over 2 days. And I'll be honest with you, I've been thinking about the movie since I watched it. I kind of want to watch it again, just in one full sitting. You know?
Well,
what I mean?
The good news is
I can.
It's on
anytime.
Netflix. So I mean, you don't have to go take a theater trip. You can just fire it up. You can watch it in 5 chunks if you really want.
Haven't even talked about spoilers. I'm just continuously gushing over the movie. So I forget what I was talking about. Full disclosure, I forget what it turned into a gush again.
I've had those moments on this episode. I'm like, wait, what am I actually trying to say? All right, rewind. All right. Okay,
what about when Homie fell through the hole? Like, where they created Frankenstein's monster. So I really thought that the where like Mia Goth's character walks in and he's got the creature like knees down and the back is splayed open. I really thought that was awesome. Kind of reminded me of a Tool song for some reason. I don't know.
It was very Tool coded. No, I agree. Like I feel like half their music videos are just weird muscular skeleton creatures, just moving around weirdly and shit.
I don't know. It just vibed with me.
It was very Tool. No, I agree with that. Very Alien Earth, I guess, is by extension.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
Just musically.
Now that Tool is injected into that. But, the whole work environment and him being just Victor Frankenstein being completely just enveloped in achieving this goal, this act of hubris. It's very Jurassic Park, they think of they were concerned on whether or not they could do it, not whether or not they should. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's kind of like what Frankenstein is to me. I guess is that one quote just summed up and into an entire thing. Because he was so, can I do it? I need to do it. I'm going to do it. I will do it. And he does it. And the guy that funded the project had syphilis, which was
right, yeah,
holy shit, and his brain's melting and stuff. And he's like, I'm not gonna fucking do it. I'm not gonna put you in his. I'm not gonna do it. You're fucked. I'm not gonna do it.
Fuck you. Your shit's fucked already, man. It's too late.
And the guy's like, just let me do it. Just let me do it. And then he falls in that fucking hole.
Yeah.
And Victor runs down there. He's like, oh shit, he fell in that fucking hole. and he goes and picks him up, and half of his whole back of his skull's exploded. And you're like, oh, that guy's fucked.
Yeah, he's pretty dead. That's pretty gnarly. He doesn't even have enough brain matter left that we could throw it into another Frankenstein creature. Like, now you're done. You're done, my dude. I'm so sorry.
I did think that was kind of funny. Like when he picked up his body, he just kind of threw it down because it was like
he's just such an asshole. He is at that point. He's singularly, focused on like nothing will stand in my way, especially in that moment, because it's just like, this is it. Like all the pieces are in place. We've done all the work to make this lab functional to fucking
and the design of this lab,
bring this thing into life.
Oh yeah, the design of the lab.
Immaculate. That was awesome.
I think
what I read was that was basically all practical. Like the design of the lab, like the set that they used for that lab was basically very like 100%.
How can
practical.
you not get every drip of performance from your actors when your actors walked in to a set like that?
Well, it's got to help. Obviously, it's one thing to be on the volume or on a bunch of green screens and
that's
a
better
bunch of
than
tennis
nothing,
balls,
I guess, right?
Like it's got to be tough to do that. But I think on the flip side, like it's got to be easy to really sink into it. Like, hey, if you're Jacob Elordi and you're sitting in a makeup chair and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, turn into this fucking thing for 10 hours, like at a certain point by hour 8 and 9, yeah, you probably are thinking, I am this fucking thing. I am the creature.
And then they walk you down and they put you in chains and then surround you with gas cans and shit.
Yeah. And but if you're Oscar Isaac and you're like walking into this fucking set, you're in costume and everything around you is just so real and practical. Like
it's my design.
It probably isn't too hard to kind of slip into that of being like, I am fucking Frankenstein. I am. Yeah. I'm fucking Frankenstein. Like
fuck this guy with syphilis.
I can buy that. Yeah, fuck that guy. He's missing half his head. What are you gonna do?
Man. It's just unreal. And then, but like so Frankenstein's hateable because he's just like rude. He straight up pulled his dad, but he's beating Frankenstein with the iron versus like a switch. Which is even like it's just like he's just like his dad to the next level.
Right. The cycle has repeated itself.
This is my name. You are a vehicle for my impact on society. Is what is? It's the same thing his dad did to him. It's sad. It's sad to watch it happen. And it's I don't know. It's just it's sad to watch him squander his like brilliance on like the like how does someone as brilliant as him not notice that he's like perpetuating the things that he hated in his dad? You know what I mean?
Right. No, there's no opportunity
self-awareness or anything like
reflection. Yeah, there's no self-awareness of it. Yeah.
It makes it that much more tragic, which I think makes his character much more compelling. It adds volume to his character, I think. So he can be brilliant in all these other facets, but he can't identify these things that he's doing. Not until the end, not until it's too late. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is where it comes full circle.
And totally, because it's also like every time he interacts with the creature, like he just keeps getting himself more and more frustrated by Victor, like that's all he hears. And
this is what I gave you. I did
all of this to bring this simple-minded creature into the world who, and to the point where he's like, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to deal with this. Like I'm gonna burn it all to the ground.
Yeah, until it blows his fucking leg apart, which is pretty rewarding. It's like, fuck that guy's leg.
But to skip ahead, I guess, to the end, like when the creature does catch up with him, and like he's speaking full sentences, and like obviously he looks different. He's clothed. He's got he's got some hair and stuff now. But like the way that he is so different. Like, I do think that's kind of where like it really puts it in a sharp focus of like, oh, I fucked this. Like I did
nurture
fuck this.
Right.
You know, like, you know, I did perpetuate the you know, the cycle, you know, from my dad, you know, to down to me. And you know, could have done things a little bit better than the way I did, but you know, too little, too late at that point. You know, the creatures had a whole life and a half past that. You know, and that's just kind of the ultimate tragedy of it all. Is just, you know, the cycle of abuse, the you know, the lack of patience, you know, the tragedy that you know, the creature has to kind of endure, you know, because he, you know, kind of has to go on his own journey, you know, of learning and realization, and you know, it's all, I mean, it's not particularly uplifting. I mean, it's quite sad. I mean, you know, especially the creature's fate of, you know, basically not being able to die. I mean, at a certain point, he's just searching for ways to die so that he can end his miserable existence, you know, his lonely existence. And, you know, yeah, I don't know. It's just, that's, I mean, that is Frankenstein, obviously. Like that's not a Del Toro invention or anything like that. Right? I don't think, but that's the beauty of Frankenstein as a story, is just the haunting, you know, how hauntingly beautiful it is, you know, it's obviously very tragic, but that's what makes it so, I don't know, I think that's what makes it so compelling is right. You know, you're
it's thought-provoking,
gut wrenching, it's thought-provoking, yeah, but it is, you know, like you want to slap the shit out of Frankenstein for being a fuckhead about it all. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Because it just kind of feels like, come on, dude, like, what are you doing here? And with the creature, you know, you want to, you know, I almost think there's like a you want to protect him. Be like, no, it's just a creature, you know, like he doesn't know any better, and then he does know any better, and then it's just a sequence of tragic events that could have been avoided, you know.
It's I really like I don't know if like's the right word, but when Frankenstein's monster understands that, like, the wolves, the people's relationship to the wolves, or the wolves to the lambs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And where he understand, like, he starts to realize, like, the dynamics of the world that he's in, where maybe they don't, this is just it, you know what I mean? And it's kind of sad, but then that's when he really starts to grow, is when he sees the wolves come and attack the lambs. And it was really sad when the old man got ate by the wolves.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was, yeah.
He did fuck those wolves up, though. He ripped the jaws off of them. He ripped the jaw off of one guy, didn't he? Like, just grabbed. Yeah, the hunter guy.
The hunter guy. I think when he came back, he just very casually, you know, did some jaw ripping. I mean, he's pretty strong, you know. So.
Yeah. Anyways, Frankenstein was a pretty impactful movie for me. I really enjoyed it, and, like, I don't know, like, it's the tale as old as time, you know, as far as, like, the sins of your father kind of, like, repeat, you know, and, like, what it is to break the cycle. And I don't know, I think there's a very real parable and in the movie, or potentially in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Maybe that's why it's as popular as it is.
We can certainly credit
hubris
for what we can take out of it, which again may have just been what it took out of, you know, a 200-plus-year-old novel. But credit to both places, I think, is appropriate, if so, you know.
Yeah. Powerful stuff, dude. It's good stuff. Very good movie. Very, very good movie.
And again, just random. Like, I really liked the Danish Navy stuff. I thought that whole
that was pretty cool.
Stuff was really well done. Like, it was just an interesting kind of way to set up the movie and then kind of bounce back in that and have that as kind of this pivotal place where, you know, these two characters are kind of at the end of their journeys, at least as far as we see. I mean, obviously for Frankenstein himself, it is in fact the end of his journey. But for the creature, it's the end of the beginning of his journey, maybe, but maybe there, you know, I think that the creature obviously has a lot more
he's
life
immortal.
to live,
Yeah, he's got,
you know, because he doesn't have a choice in the matter, you know, quite literally. So yeah, but it's really interesting, and I liked Theron, I liked Lars Mikkelsen, and and
really
just the, you know, the I don't know if I'd have to watch it again, I think, to probably pick up on it more. But, you know, this whole idea of them like, oh, we're going to the North Pole, you know, we're going to keep going once we get off the ice, and then by the end of the movie, by the end of the journey, they're like,
going back home.
Let's go back home. You know, I think there's probably something in that.
It's like the hubris thing. It's like the exactly. We're gonna push forward despite our humanity. You know what I mean? Like, we're not like, fuck your humanity. This is what we have to do. We're gonna do it, and that's what he's all about in the beginning. But by the end of it, the captain of the ship, we're gonna go back home, man. You know, we're gonna back home to our families and everything else, and everybody was excited about it. I think it's yeah. I don't know. It's good. It's a good. It ends on a good note.
It does. I think it's
the Frankenstein's monster feels the sun. You know.
That was just visually was very cool. Like just, you know.
Yeah.
Really like a beautiful kind of closing. I think for the movie. Yeah. Very well done. Let's see. I have a couple again scattered thoughts. Did you notice the double casting in the movie? I didn't notice it at first, so I don't know if I'm an idiot for it, but Mia Goth plays two characters in this movie. I didn't know if you noticed it. Oh no, I
don't think I noticed that. What is that?
She plays Lady Elizabeth, who is obviously the brother's fiance, and, you know, Frankenstein has some eyes for her as well. And there's maybe some Oedipus shit going on because she also plays his mom. But
does she really?
She does.
Oh no.
Maybe there's more to it, but I literally think they just put eyebrows on Mia Goth, which is incredible because it somehow transforms her.
That's all it
appearance
takes.
in a pretty convincing.
I have to watch that
way.
Again
because I feel like when I was looking at the mom, I was like, I feel like I think I know who that is. I'm not sure, and I think Anna said something about it being about it being Mia Goth, and I don't even think I like put it together. But like, oh yeah, that's literally who it is. And I've seen something online just being like, oh yeah, that is her. But like, she looks so different. It's weird. Anyway, people are arguing that it's proof that the Clark Kent glasses disguise, we don't give enough credit to it. I think people are arguing like, hey man, eyebrows, like they do a lot for your face.
Eyebrows are like sunglasses, I guess.
Yeah, exactly,
I don't know.
Something like that. And my last thought is the what if of this movie. I mean, what if you know, Benedict Cumberbatch, Del Toro said that he would be interested in having him play the creature at one point, but when this movie was actually initially announced in 2023, Jacob Elordi was not involved. It was actually going to be Andrew Garfield as the creature.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I mean, I think physically very different, definitely shorter. And he dropped out because of the actors strikes, the SAG-AFTRA strikes, the scheduling conflicts that I guess probably, you know, whatever project he was attached to kind of ended up changing things as a result. And they kind of had to pivot because, you know, the different physical body types of those actors. I don't know. It's you know, we talked about it with weapons, like the same thing, the strikes affected the casting, and it was kind of just like, I don't know, maybe things worked out, you know, and, you know, things happen for a reason kind of thing. I mean, Andrew Garfield's a great actor, but I don't know, it's kind of hard to imagine anyone else in this role.
I can't.
It's really hard. It's hard to say.
I read that it was the Del Toro's daughter and an executive at Netflix recommended that Del Toro watch Saltburn? Saltburn.
Okay, and that's where they saw Jacob Elordi then. Yeah, okay.
Exactly, and he said, oh, that guy's got the eyes for it. It's his eyes.
The eyes are important, you know? You're going to be buried under makeup and prosthetics, but your eyes are going to show through. So
yeah, and the eyes do shine through. It's I don't know, man. It's like it's the way it was meant to be. It's just I can't picture a different movie.
Yeah.
To be frank,
to be Frankenstein.
To be Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yes. Frankenstein.
Yeah, no. I kind of agree. I mean it's other than CGI animals for me kind of a no notes movie. I think he just really knocked it out of the park all around. Definitely ascending into the upper echelon of movies that I've seen this year, I think without question.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've seen some people have been like, oh, is this better than Nosferatu last year? I don't know. I don't know. That like, I do think there are definitely some similarities between them. Like, obviously they're kind of, riffs on classic novels. Obviously Nosferatu is a riff on a, sort of rip off of Dracula, like not really rip off, but an unofficial adaptation, I guess, if you will.
And I would normally say I like a vampire movie more than whatever Frankenstein is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think this movie represents. I don't know.
It's tough. I'd have to think about it. Like, my initial sense, I don't know. I feel like Nosferatu. It's tough because I fucking watched Nosferatu in a theater, and I didn't watch this in a theater. I do think that plays a factor, but I don't know. Nosferatu like kind of wowed me. I remember when I watched it, and this did too. I don't know. So I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. It's a quandary.
I can answer it. I can answer it right now.
All right. Do it.
I think this for me, Frankenstein's a much more like, I'm not going to say it's a better movie. I think that Nosferatu offers a whole lot with production.
But maybe narratively more rich.
Narratively, it's much more identifiable.
I think I can probably agree with that. I think Nosferatu was impactful in some other ways. I mean, just the vibes of it, and like the terror, and like just the feel, the kind of evil feeling of it was, I don't know, not the same, like a very different sort of thing. Like Nosferatu was intended to be like a pure incarnation of evil. Obviously the creature here is not.
That's good.
No. I mean, there's literal dialogue in this movie of like, you're the monster, Victor, and it's like, it's very on the nose, but obviously that is kind of the point, is that Baron Victor Frankenstein, Frankenstein, like he's the bad guy,
If you can navigate like the, I don't know, I feel like there's just a lot more humanity in Frankenstein than there is Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
in Nosferatu.
Well, definitely Nosferatu.
Nosferatu is like a genre piece, or a like it's a tour de force. Don't get me wrong; it's definitely a tour de force. But I feel like, I don't know. There's a lot more layers to this movie than there is than there is Nosferatu, because Nosferatu is out for, like, it's I don't know, it's diabolical, you know what I mean? And that's the point of that movie. It's supposed to be diabolical.
They do different things. They have different goals. They achieve different things. And I think it's totally fair. But obviously, Dracula and Frankenstein, I think, often exist in the same conversation. So it's not an unfair comparison, especially with the recency of that one, and the timing, like late last year versus this late last year. Yeah, I just feel, I think, is actually also similar. They feel like they could kind of coexist, even if they are, pretty different when you sort of take stock. But I'd say they're both pretty fucking good. It's my personal feeling.
Fucking good.
Both pretty fucking good. You can't go wrong with either.
We've gotten a super, and I don't know. I think it's awesome that my favorite directors have made classic Dracula, classic Frankenstein.
Yeah,
I've got them both, each within 1 year of each other.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
It's a good time to be alive. There's a lot of real bad, this is a terrible time to be alive.
On one hand, it is, but on the other hand, you really gotta find
take
the positives.
The good with the bad.
You gotta really, really focus on the good. And appreciate what you can, right? You know, so
we got a good Invisible Man.
We got a good Invisible Man a few years ago, right?
Yeah,
the Elizabeth Moss
yeah.
one was good. Yeah.
And we're fixing to get another Mummy.
We talked about it, another Mummy. You know, they tried and failed with Tom Cruise, but maybe bring in Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz back as that's the secret, that's the ticket. I don't know, what else are we missing? I guess we Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I guess we've already gotten some fish man shit with Shape of Water. I guess it's not the same, obviously, yeah. But you know, how many Fishman movies can you make? I don't know. A lot, probably. We're doing okay on that front, I think. You know, classic Universal monsters and in the modern era. You know, I think we're doing pretty
and they're
good.
Very much not. I feel like they're not very. Oh, well, I don't think they're universal at all. Right? They're not universal at all. They're like free.
Well,
domain.
they are
public
but
domain.
Obviously, I'm just more in the sense that, you know, there is a line of classic Universal films that I think popularized those characters for cinema goers and such. So yeah. All right, I think I am out of things to say.
It's good shit. It's probably the best shit on Netflix
about Frankenstein. I'm out of things to say for now. I don't know. Come January, might have more things to say, but we'll see. We'll see. A lot of movies still to watch. I don't know. Maybe it's in the top 5 now, but maybe it won't always be. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Any final thoughts for you, spoiler-wise, for Frankenstein?
I think I've said it all.
All right.
I feel like I've said a lot.
We've said a lot, but you know, it's the kind of movie that demands a lot. So we will leave it there for Frankenstein and move on to our abbreviated version of catching up. Is there any 1-2 things from last time we recorded you want to talk about? All right.
House of Dynamite.
Oh, you watched it. How was it?
I watched it.
More Netflix stuff.
Intense.
Not the best thing on Netflix, as you just said. So,
definitely not the best thing on Netflix. It's actually it's got a star-studded cast. Leggy Bay Ferguson is in it, and I don't know if it's because I watched her with her native accent in F1, but
she's not in F1. I think we had a text conversation. But you know, it's fine.
she's not in F1.
No, it's Carrie Condon, who actually is Irish. They do look a lot like each other. I can't remember if I actually.
What? Are you kidding me right now? That's not her. Are you kidding me right now?
I have to go back
that.
and figure out if I actually corrected you or not, or if I just was just.
I don't think you did.
I'm just going to move on and pretend I know what he's talking about. I don't know. It's too far back. I can't remember. Yes, it is not her in F1. It is Carrie Condon, who is Irish. However, I do think they look alike, and I actually think that it's not crazy. Rebecca Ferguson is Swedish, so different native accent. But yes.
Okay, well, I thought I could. I'll be honest with you. I thought I could. She sounded like, I heard a little bits where she sounded like she was almost. That's incredible. There's no way. Oh my! I had to do further research on this. I think you might be mistaken. There's no way.
I'm not. I did. So what happened is Anna took over my phone and she started texting you a bunch of gifts. So I don't think it was actually made abundantly clear to you what had happened. So I don't know that it was a clear on the record. Hey man, let me have a conversation with you. It's actually a different woman who does look similar. And they have, you know, similar features, but unfortunately they are different women at the end of the day.
So Rebecca Ferguson was in.
She is in A House of Dynamite, though. So you are correct in that. I will say she is in that. And she's obviously in Dune. And
she's
Dune
in
Part
Dune.
2. So you're not wrong. She is Leggy Bay. She was in the Mission Impossible movies until she wasn't. So you've seen her in a few things. She's in Silo. I don't think you've watched that on Apple TV, but she is in that.
I've seen Rebecca Ferguson in a lot of things.
You've seen her in a lot of things. And you've probably seen Carrie Condon in far fewer things, I would guess.
You're blowing my mind right now. I can't believe this. There's no way. I don't even know
Well,
Carrie Condon?
You've seen her in F1. We can definitely say that. You've heard her voice because she's the voice of Friday in the MCU.
Carrie Condon.
She was in the Banshees of Inisherin, so you did see her in that.
There's just no way. What the fuck is this?
She was in Skeleton Crew. Did you think Rebecca Ferguson was in Skeleton Crew?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you've had this misconception for a long time then.
Yes. I'm not the only one.
They do look alike. I think this is actually pretty reasonable. I'm not going to lie. I think this is not crazy. This is not a crazy take from you. I do.
They take pictures with each other, fucking with people.
It's a Keira Natalie Portman situation, you know.
No, you know what it is? It's the fucking drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It's Will Ferrell and Chad.
What
Chad
the fuck is this? This is insane. All right. Well, I guess okay.
Smith,
all right.
Chad
Well,
Smith.
I digress.
Anyway, all right. So
insane. What the fuck is going on?
All right. So you watched Rebecca Ferguson, but not Carrie Condon in House of Dynamite.
Yeah, I guess it's who I watched. Who the fuck's going to tell me? Right. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think they sometimes like, hey, let me just go do a day on your set and see if anyone notices? They do like a little swap.
I think they do.
Little decoy action.
Yeah. Especially when you start to hear a little bit of Irish accent going on.
Yeah. Let it peek through a little bit. And like, oh shit, who's this?
I feel like they're just fucking with me. No. You know what I mean? I'm going to sound like I'm a little Irish right here, even though I'm Swedish. Anyways, that movie was very, very intense. I went from watching the second half of Frankenstein to this because I ended up, I stopped watching Frankenstein the night before.
Pretty early in the night because you split it.
Yeah, well, I stopped watching it and I only had 30 minutes left of Frankenstein. So,
I see. Okay. So you got like most of the way through it the first
I got
night.
most of the way in. I was like, wow, I thought there was a lot more movie left.
Okay. You were past the title card. We're now into
He said I wanted a wife.
Part.
You know, it's right after
Okay.
it's right after Mia Goth's character dies on the rock or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And so anyways, and so I finished the movie and then I was like, okay, well, I'm not ready to go to bed, so I'm going to watch this House of Dynamite. And I watched most of House of Dynamite, but I fell asleep watching that. And then I finished that up the next day, and I don't know if I could recommend it. Like, it was...
Ooh, okay.
The cinematography kind of pissed me off coming off of Frankenstein, because it's like real shaky.
Yeah. Close shots of people reacting to shit, and just all over the
But I got used to it.
Yeah.
I adapted. You know,
I've heard people have some weird mixed reactions to the ending, so I don't know if that's like where you're coming from in terms of
the
your
ending
non-recommendation.
I don't know what the mixed reaction comes from.
I don't know what the ending is. I am curious to watch it. I guess maybe just to be part of the water cooler conversation with it.
Yeah. You can develop an opinion about it. I would say anybody that says the ending is not shit is wrong. Like.
That almost makes me more curious. It's the wrong thing. It's like when people were like, "The Flash is fucking." I mean, it's fucking awful, man. Like that. This dude's, there's babies in the microwave. Like, what's going on in this movie? I'm like, now I'm interested. Now I want to watch it. Why is there a baby in the microwave in The Flash? I would love to know. And then you find out the answer, and like, I regret knowing the answer. I've made a huge mistake. So I might feel in the same position. I'm like, I spent all that time watching this, and that's what I got. Okay.
There's a lot of sayings around opinions. People say, everybody's got opinions. Yeah, and they do. People have opinions, but some of them are just wrong.
Okay.
Okay. It's a really good movie up until like.
All right, they Game of Thrones'd it.
I feel like the game's Like, don't get me wrong.
within a 2-hour span, they Game of Thrones'd it.
You can take some artistic opinions about why they ended it where they did or why they did what they did, but like from a narrative point, I think like it's just kind of a shit ending.
Okay. It feels counterintuitive, but
we'll talk about it. Well, I mean, I hope we have an opportunity. Yeah, I hope I really piss somebody off by saying they're wrong about their opinion on it. They can write in.
Tell Andrew why he's wrong, and actually this is the best ending of all time, and Andrew's a fucking idiot. Actually, you're the fucking idiot, you fucking idiot.
I would like to hear it. Because maybe I am wrong. Have I done anything else? I downloaded a game called Battlefield. It's not Battlefield 6, but it's Battlefield like REDSEC or something. I'm not quite sure what it's called.
Excuse me?
Free. It's free. There's a free Battlefield game.
Battlefield REDSEC. That doesn't sound appropriate.
It's like, I don't know. It's called something different than Battlefield 6. And apparently it's like a battle royale thing, but it was free, and I didn't want to pay the money for Battlefield. But it was pretty fun. I saw some people the other night. That was pretty cool.
REDSEC. Is that it?
REDSEC. That's what it's called. I have a hard time identifying with these games. I don't know if
the battle royales or Battlefields.
No,
or what?
just like games in general. I feel like I've
just period. Like you're like, yeah, well, no, you're a dad now, so
I just feel like I'm being left behind. Like, I don't know. There's just games I'm just not.
Hey
into
man, give
anymore.
it a few years, and you might be in your Fortnite era. We'll see.
I don't know. Fortnite, I don't understand Minecraft. I don't understand a lot of games, but this game felt like a slower paced FPS game, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
I got in there. I was able to shoot a couple people. That was pretty fun, I feel like I don't know. I feel like Battlefield would be pretty cool if you can get a couple people to play with, but, yeah. Anyway, so that's the gaming. That's the movies. I don't think there's a whole lot left for me. Okay. What have you been up to?
Well, the first thing I'll say is that sports are bad, and I've sworn off sports forever.
I remember one thing. Yeah, okay. You got fucked up by Kentucky. That's what I remember. I bet on you guys for Kentucky. I lost that bet.
It was like the first time in a month where I'm like, I don't have anything else going on. I'm just gonna sit down and watch a Gator game. There's so many other things I could have done with my life. I have regrets. I mean, I don't even know. Like, just after I mean, the season's over. I guess they just phoned it in, and everyone's kind of just we're making business decisions here, I guess. But that was rough. The Jaguars had a seismic meltdown on Sunday.
Yeah, they had a rough time too, right?
Yeah, they blew a 3-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter and gave up like 26 points or something like that in the fourth quarter.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
I mean, in 6 of those, like the last 6 points, they were losing. They would have lost by 1, and then they had like a desperate, thing that they fumbled and then was returned for a touchdown. So it's like 6 bullshit points that like count against them that weren't actually meaningful. It was just they were style points at the end. But yeah, it was a fucking epic choke. Gators basketball looks kind of iffy. 3-point shooting is real bad, but they are the defending national champions, so they definitely have a lot of talent still on the team that I think they just need to figure it out. So basketball is my best hope for sports, because football ain't it right now. So anyway, sports bad. That's what I'm calling that section. I'm swearing it off. Temple is almost bowl eligible, but they've now lost to Navy and Army, so things are going pretty poorly on that front too. So my real entry for this catching up section is I mentioned, I think at the end of our last episode, that we had watched the first episode of the first season of Stranger Things, and we needed to pick up the pace considerably to to be in position to try to watch season 5, the final season, as it airs, which it starts, I think a day or two before Thanksgiving, I think is what we said. And then it has, other drops around Christmas and New Year's. So it won't fully finish up until basically the very, very end of the year. But we binged it. We watched the first season. We finished the first season. Kind of found the inspiration. It's the classic Netflix show of once you get going, you get hooked in. You want to keep watching, and so we did that. It's kind of funny. We watched, I think, the first 3 episodes on Netflix, and then I remembered that I actually have a 4K like box set. It's like a VHS style like mock-up box set of seasons 1 and 2, and then they annoyingly never made any for seasons 3 and 4, so we will have to go back to Netflix proper at some point. Yeah, I've been watching 4K discs of Stranger Things, which is pretty cool. So
that is pretty cool.
So we rewatched season 1. which is as good as it ever was. I mean, it obviously kick-started a big kind of franchise at this point, and it's been a long time. 2016 is when that first season came out. The first season of Stranger Things came out before we started the podcast, which probably puts it into perspective to some extent. But it's really good. I mean, the 80s vibes are really, really fun. The kids are great. I mean, I think they really knocked it out of the park with the casting of those kids, who are obviously now just fully adults now. But at the time, we're in fact children. They just nailed it. The little bits of lore, which obviously have been expanded big time in future seasons, but just going back to where it all began is just classic, simple Stranger Things, and it's really, really fucking good, really compelling, well shot, great. I said soundtrack and all of it.
Soundtrack's awesome.
It's just so good. I mean, again, there's a reason it became as big as it has, and it's a lot, and in large part is because season 1 was just really fucking phenomenal, and just kind of out of nowhere, just kind of blew everyone away, and holds up to this day. I mean, it looks good, sounds good. It's kind of a classic now, weird as it is to say, but I think I've now seen that first season 3 or 4 times, I think, in total. It's 8 episodes. It's not a ton of episodes, but it just fucking flows, man. And it ends in a satisfying way, and it's just kind of riveting throughout. So, we're gonna keep plugging along, with our rewatch. This is the time to do it with the final season coming out. But yeah, we'll definitely. Hey, I mean, I don't know who wouldn't have made it onto the boat by now, but if you haven't made it onto the Stranger Things boat by now, it is on Netflix. All 4 seasons are on Netflix, and definitely give season 1 a chance, because, I mean, it's arguably the best season of Stranger Things. But I'll continue to weigh in on that as we keep rewatching. My recollection, I'll say it now, so I can kind of signpost it, is that, like, 1's probably the best, 2 is probably the worst. Well, still having like a lot of good stuff in it, to be fair, but 3 being in the middle. 4 is kind of where I don't know where I'd place it, because it's so dense. Like, 4 was like 5 seasons of hours packed into one, and I've only seen it the one time, and we obviously would have talked about it when it came out, but haven't revisited it since. So I'm curious to go back to 4. I am wondering if it's going to feel long, because it is long. Relatively, it's very long. So I'm curious to see if it feels that way. So anyway, yeah, I'll keep everyone kind of informed on what the latest is with Stranger Things as we kind of continue our rewatch. So that's the big thing that's been on my radar. There is a big movie that I watched that maybe will be a future conversation for another episode. If not, then it will be on a future version of catching up for me. But I won't talk about it here, because maybe we'll talk about it separately on another episode. Well, I think that's it for me. So I guess it's time to wrap things up. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, spread the word. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes, timed exclusive access to that ever elusive bonus episode we've got a month and a half to make for this year to keep good on my promise of bringing you a bonus episode.
Yeah, right.
We'll see what happens. Our website is watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat. We're on Instagram at watchreviewrepeat. We are on Blue Sky at watchreviewrepeat.bsky.social. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, which is to say, if you've got something to say, you can send it our way at watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Whether it's thoughts on Frankenstein or anything you've been up to, movies, TV shows, games, whatever, send it our way. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode, Predator Badlands came out the same day as Frankenstein in theaters. I don't think Andrew has taken a theater trip to see that. And perhaps that's because in just a couple days from when we're recording, but certainly by the time you're listening to this, The Running Man will have made its way to theaters as well. So I think our next episode's got to be one of those two. I think it'll be a theater trip kind of episode. And it's really just about figuring out, I think, what we talk about next. Because I think, Andrew, we're coming up on the Thanksgiving holiday as well in terms of just timeline. So I think we have one more week where we'll be in town and probably available to record, and then we'll be taking some time off. So we'll figure it out off air, but I think reasonably you can expect hopefully one of those that's the target. That's the intention. So, we'll figure it out, and you'll be able to hear it relatively soon. So with that, Andrew, why don't you take everyone out?
Well, take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menche.